It was supposed to be just another glamorous night in Paris. Instead, it became the night the world lost its princess forever. But what really happened that night? And why are there still so many unanswered questions? This is the untold story of Princess Diana's final hours. August 30th, 1997. Diana and Dodi Al Fayed arrive at the Ritz Hotel in Paris. Owned by Dodi's billionaire father Mohammed Al Fayed, the Ritz should have been a fortress of luxury and safety. But according to hotel insiders, Diana was unusually tense. That night, she received 5 mysterious phone calls to her private suite. None of the numbers belonged to friends, family, or known associates. Diana seemed deeply disturbed after the last call, according to her bodyguard Trevor Rees-Jones. Hotel staff later reported seeing unfamiliar figures in the lobby, men dressed as casual tourists but wearing discreet earpieces and communicating silently. Some staff members claimed they had never seen them before, and never saw them again. Was someone shadowing her movements? And if so, who had the power to do it inside one of the most secure hotels in Paris? When Diana and Dodi decided to leave for Dodi's private apartment, the plan changed suddenly. Their original experienced driver vanished without explanation. Instead, Henry Paul, the deputy head of security, stepped in. Later blood tests would claim Henry was 3 times over the legal alcohol limit. But witnesses, including the hotel bartender, insisted Henry was calm, sober, and speaking clearly just minutes before the departure. Even stranger CCTV footage from the Ritz's internal cameras that could have confirmed Henry's state disappeared. Hours of tapes missing without a trace. At 12:23 a.m., the black Mercedes S280 sped away from the Ritz's rear entrance, a decoy car leaving the front to distract the waiting paparazzi. Yet somehow, dozens of photographers immediately picked up the real trail. Who tipped them off? Among the chasing motorcycles and cars were people whose identities have never been fully verified. Some carried no press credentials. Some appeared and disappeared from the scene without ever being questioned. Just seconds before the crash inside the Pont de l'Alma tunnel, several eyewitnesses reported seeing a sudden, intense white flash. It filled the tunnel for a split second, and then the crash occurred. This flash was mentioned by at least 3 independent witnesses, but investigators initially dismissed the detail. Only years later did it resurface as a possible explanation for why Henry Paul lost control. The idea that someone may have deliberately blinded the driver is chilling, but was never fully explored. The crash was brutal. Dodi Al Fayed died instantly. Henry Paul was also killed. Trevor Rees-Jones, the bodyguard, was critically injured but survived. Diana was still alive, trapped in the back seat. She was conscious. Rescuers reported that she repeatedly whispered 2 heartbreaking phrases, "Oh my God, and leave me alone." What followed remains one of the most controversial aspects of that night. Paramedics took over 37 minutes to extract Diana from the wreckage, an unusually long delay for emergency services, especially considering she was still alive. Instead of taking her immediately to the nearest hospital, where emergency surgery could have been performed faster, they chose to stabilize her at the scene, following French medical protocol. She finally arrived at the Pitié-Salpêtrière hospital at 2:06 a.m. Despite desperate efforts, she was pronounced dead at 4 a.m. Later reports from medical experts suggested that Diana's internal injuries, while severe, could have been survivable with faster intervention. As news broke, the world plunged into grief. In London, outside Kensington Palace, a sea of flowers began to grow. Candlelight vigils appeared across continents. Millions mourned not just the death of a princess, but the loss of a symbol of compassion, empathy, and hope. Yet amidst the tears, questions began to rise. In the months before her death, Diana had repeatedly voiced her fears. She told close friends that she believed powerful forces were working against her. She even wrote a private letter predicting her own death, stating, "This phase in my life is the most dangerous. My car will be tampered with." That letter, written in late 1995, was given to her trusted butler, Paul Burrell. It remained hidden in a lawyer's safe until after her death. Why was it never taken seriously? On the night of the crash, several photographers were arrested at the scene. Police seized dozens of rolls of film, but not all photographs taken that night have ever been made public. Some images reportedly showed figures near the car immediately after the crash, figures who were never formally identified or questioned. Official investigations, including Operation Paget, concluded that Diana's death was a tragic accident, caused by a drunk driver fleeing paparazzi. Yet discrepancies remained. CCTV footage from the Ritz's back entrance disappeared. Witness testimonies changed. Some reports noted that traffic cameras inside the Pont de l'Alma tunnel had been inexplicably switched off for maintenance that night, something that rarely happened. The royal family's response added fuel to public suspicion. The Queen remained silent for 5 days. No official statement, no flag flown at half-mast over Buckingham Palace. The delay in mourning was interpreted by many as coldness, or worse, as indifference. It took a national outcry to compel a formal address. Diana was not just a former princess, she was a force of change. She walked through landmine fields in Angola. She embraced AIDS patients when few others dared. She used her fame to spotlight the suffering and forgotten. In doing so, she challenged deeply entrenched powers. Governments, corporations, even traditions within the monarchy itself. Was it possible she had become too dangerous to be allowed to live freely? Today, near the tunnel where she died, the flame of liberty burns as a makeshift memorial. But behind that eternal flame, the real fire still burns. The fire of unanswered questions, whispered doubts, and lingering grief. Maybe the greatest tragedy isn't just how she died, but how she lived. Constantly under surveillance, relentlessly judged, endlessly manipulated, yet still managing to radiate hope, love, and humanity. Carry out a random act of kindness with no expectation of reward. Princess Diana. Diana may be gone, but her spirit, her compassion, her fight for dignity and justice will never be extinguished.